minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. T-minus 5 minutes. minus 3 minutes. T minus 2 minutes. T minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Heyo! Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show, a special Thursday. In a moment, you're going to hear why. I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a lot of fun. There's your disclaimer. A whole lot of fun coming your way the next 2 hours here on the Game Plus television network across Canada. 32 U.S. states. In hour 2, we've set sail across Nevada on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network. And, of course, we're on a variety of other platforms, including WQVZ Radio, Mission Radio, and that's where you'll find Brian Snow, the Snowman in the morning. He's joining us coming up in hour 2 to talk a lot of NFL on a very special night in specifically Tampa Bay. But we got a lot of things to get to. This is the warm-up, and it's just me solo in hour 1. And I think after all these shows, 1,637 of them, you understand how it works. There's a lot of audience participation here. Some of the shows have co-hosts. We do not. You are the co-host. Those that are watching on Game Plus TV, listening on the aforementioned radio live, as we said, or the YouTube chat. Now, days like today are the days to get your comments in because it's me solo. Kevin the Medium is in the Dominican Republic. I don't know that we're always going to have Thursdays and Fridays with Kevin the Medium from the Hughes Sports Podcast, but we have for a while. He does a good job. We love him, but he ain't here. Nor, by the way, is Moose, who I spoke with this morning. He is in Palm Springs, California, but he is on his way, or will be later today, driving to Las Vegas for his other job. Moose sends his regards. But anyways, let's get down to business with the big story. We're opening with the National Hockey League. I have a lot of points here and really dying to talk about what's going on in Tampa Bay tonight. And I have a very thought-provoking question for you that is not the poll question. That's thought-provoking too, but just listen up. And please do me a favor and participate in the question. 902-518-3033 is the number to reach us here. But number one, the big story, Chicago Blackhawks center Connor Bedard stayed hot with a goal and a helper in their 3-0 victory, the Chicago Blackhawks, over the New York Rangers on Wednesday night. I had the benefit of watching that game on TNT. If that's what it was on, I can't remember anymore. Doesn't matter. It was on something. And the jerseys, you know what the Rangers were wearing? It was slightly lighter blue than the normal Broadway blues, and the Blackhawks always look so good at the United Center. It was a great game. And I'm not ready yet to say that the Blackhawks are back, but Bedard now, how about this? 19 goals, 23 assists in 30 games this year for Connor Bedard. Everybody's off his butt. They've moved on to the other whipping boys now because he is the kind of guy, Connor Bedard, who first appeared on this show when he was 14. That's how long we've been tracking this kid. He's got the chip on the shoulder. So count him out. Count him out. I saw him actually playing down below the goal line in his own zone last night. Jeff Blashill's actually successfully gotten Bedard to do things that a myriad of other coaches were unable to get him to do, and that is play defense successfully. It was a 3-0 shutout victory, and Spencer Knight stopped 21 shots for the shutout. I listened to his interview this morning on NHL radio, and he said he didn't care about the shutout, only getting the win. Young people, pay attention to this for a second because I'm going to move on fast. This ain't the Chicago Blackhawks show. But Knight saying he doesn't care at all. He was actually surprised. How does it feel to have a shutout? And he's like, and I know him well. I interviewed him many times around here in South Florida when he was a Panther. And he's very thoughtful. He's a great kid. And it reminds me of watching Sergei Bobrovsky. Spencer and I would have learned a lot from Spencer Bobrovsky all the time around him. All Bob cares about is winning. It reminds me of being in Palm Springs a few weeks ago with Grant Fuhr. And, for years, he doesn't care about numbers or stats. The winners don't. It might be a good poll question. Will the Chicago Blackhawks win a Stanley Cup in Spencer Knight's time? But, because I specifically asked Grant Fuhr, I said, you got a goals against average career around 4.00. It's like the highest of any goalie in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Do you care? He's like, I have 5 Stanley Cups. I don't care. It's just so funny. All the noobs that get so worked up and horny about the analytics and the stats when the guys that have actually done something and won don't care about those things. It's unbelievable. Anyways, meanwhile, as for Spencer Knight's old team, the Florida Panthers, Anton Lundell scored with 50.8 seconds to go, batting a loose puck in front of the net. The Cats to a 4-3 win over the Utah Mammoth on Wednesday night. It was Florida's 3rd straight win. You know what I took away from that one? I was watching it on Scripps TV down here in South Florida. And that rink seems like the Yellowgrass Arena, like in Salt Lake City. Like it's not clearly built for hockey. Are they building a new rink down there in Salt Lake City? Because they had Goldstein and Randy Moeller, the TV crew, with a camera that looked like it was on the moon shooting down on them. And then they had Katie Engelson, who will be coming up shortly on the Cats and Bolts podcast, our Panthers podcast that we do. She's got her neck all craned down in the corner trying to do a live hit. I'm like, what's wrong with that rink? Anyways, I went 5 for 5 on my picks last night. Not a big deal. I knew that the Cats would come back, and they did with a big victory last night in Salt Lake City. And Alex DeBrincat extended his point streak to 5 games with 2 goals and an assist. Detroit held off Calgary 4-3. As mentioned earlier, because I always tell you when I suck on my picks, I'm going to tell you when I win. We're in the money. 5-0 in NHL picks last night. And I get a real bang when I open up this Western Dodge text line in the morning and I see what guys wrote in from yesterday's show. Ron in Calgary wrote in near the end of yesterday's show. He says, great show. Flames over Detroit. Didn't happen. We will spend a lot of time on that. I did have Doug McLean on that Cats and Bolts podcast yesterday, and he had some very interesting things to say, the iconic Doug McLean. I'll come back on that. Point 2, I know we're running out of time in the opening segment here, but The Atlanta Falcons will try to play spoiler as they visit the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for Thursday night football. The 4-9 Falcons have already been eliminated from playoff contention, while the Bucs are tied atop the NFC South at 7-6. After a hot start, Tampa Bay has struggled in recent weeks with 4 losses in 5 games, including an ugly one to the Saints last week. There's a documentary dropping today. I got to read this off real quick out of my mind, called Raise the Flags, a multi-part series on, I believe it's Prime Video, on the Buccaneers franchise history. And I can't wait to watch it. I'll tell you why coming back after the break. What's the sports documentary series you'd like to see made that hasn't made yet? We've seen Boys on the Bus. We've seen The Gambler in America's Team, or whatever that Cowboys one was, which was great. What's the documentary that you'd like to see made? I already know mine. It didn't take long, but think about it in this break, and we'll come back and talk about that. We got breaking CFL news today, some NBA stuff. As I said, the Doug McClain quotes on the Olympic ice and so forth. So we have a lot to get to today. We'll be right back here live across Canada and 32 U.S. states on the Game Plus television network.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show here on the Game Plus Television Network, and it's what we lovingly refer to as the Canadian Hour, as in Hour 2 we go to air across Nevada on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network. But we talk some Canadian stuff there, too, and we remain on our Overlord Game Plus TV in Hour 2. Before I go any further, Bob writes in on the Western Dodge text line. By the way, experience the Western Dodge difference. Local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. Bob writes in and he says, good morning. It's Bob from Medicine Hat. Watching your show from Alberta. Always enjoy your show immensely on these cold and winter's day. Have a great day, Rod. Thank you, Bob. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy. And for those that are just getting situated, for those that showed up a little late, our opening topic was the National Hockey League and Wednesday's games and the fact that I went 5-0 in my picks. Not a big deal. But Bedard had another multi-point night for Chicago. And the poll question, I should have mentioned it earlier before I delved into football, is who is the current face of the NHL? If we can have a civilized debate, there's not one answer. That's what I've learned. And the poll question is brought to you by EMJ Marketing Elite Speakers Bureau. Connect with thought leaders and industry experts through EMJ Marketing Speakers Bureau. Check out their roster at emjmarketing.com. Who is the face of the NHL? Just so you know, running away with it is Connor McDavid. Running away with it. The other options were Nathan McKinnon and Connor Bedard, and they're both tied. And then other is an option. And there have been several write-in ballots for Sidney Crosby. And I think if you ask the NHL right now who they feel would be their face, I don't really know what they would say, but they are running these ads. I'm sure they're running it in Canada. I'm seeing them all over the television in America. But the golden era is now with Bedard and Celebrini. So I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm biased. You know that. I'm a big Connor Bedard guy. I voted for Connor Bedard, but the majority of you are saying it's Connor McDavid. And, of course, Sidney Crosby has his millions of fans, which he's earned. Now, back to that. I said there was breaking CFL news. We're going to get to that. But back to that Thursday nighter in the NFL. It's bigger than just a game. Obviously, the Buccaneers are tied for the division lead. It's huge for the Bucs. But they're celebrating 50 years of Buccaneers football tonight at Raymond James Stadium. And the classy teams do things right. The non-classy teams don't. But I was listening to Chris Sims on the radio this morning. He wasn't in Tampa Bay very long, but he was jumping on a plane out of New York, heading down to Tampa Bay for tonight's celebration. I can't wait to turn on the tube and watch this. I guess the Buccaneers are going to wear their creamsicle uniforms. And people older than me that remember, you're going to have to help me out here. Did the Buccaneers not win a game their first two seasons? Somewhere along the way in the last 50 years, they went 0-26. I don't know if it was their first 26 games or if it was just a 26-game segment in their 50-year history. Either way, they went 26 games without winning. Can you imagine? That's like an Edmonton Elcamos type thing. And their home record. Sorry, Edmonton. But I've told this story on this show before. I never thought that I would end up in Tampa Bay for anything. But there I was hosting 60 viewers on a sports trip in 2012 and was with Dan Goodspeed, who was an offensive lineman on their 2003 Super Bowl team. And he invited me down on the field with him because he was being honored at halftime as the featured alum. They treat their alumni great, is my point. Not every team does. So if you're trying to pick a winner tonight, which it shouldn't be that hard, the Buccaneers are favored tonight over Atlanta. Here I wrote the game down, but Bucs by 4. They should cover that easily against a team that's just playing out the string. But I've been around enough teams with enough teams that when you have these types of nights where the alumni's there, probably you can bring somebody in to speak to the team from that alum, maybe even Tony Dungy. I wouldn't be surprised if Todd Bowles did that. Tony Dungy coached that Super Bowl team. Now, I know that John Gruden wouldn't agree. Apparently, he's patched things up with the Buccaneers, but that also happens. Also been a part of that, too. When you get fired, you're not that warm and fuzzy with your old team. And Gruden wasn't for years. Goodspeed told me that Gruden hadn't set foot in that stadium for a very long time, but I saw a photo of him recently that he did. Maybe Gruden will be there tonight. Probably will be. I love these things. It reminds me a lot of the last game at Rexall Place. Or let's just call it Northlands Coliseum in Edmonton. Do you people remember that? They brought back every guy that ever played for the Oilers at all. And interestingly enough, Todd Strube, whom I just talked to last Saturday as I was on the road to his hometown of Edmonton, his hometown of Lanigan, talked about his time with the Edmonton Oilers. I think he only played 5 games. But Strube always said, the Oilers treat me as well as they treat Wayne Gretzky. It's the way the Oilers do things. I think we all know that. And the Bucks clearly are the same. So that'll be a good thing to watch tonight. Anyways, I said, hang on, from the audience here, Tony and Cochran writes in regarding who's the face of the NHL. He says he's voting for other. He says, I think Ovi and Sid are still on top. Totally fair, and I understand it. BW in Edmonton writes in and he says, morning RP squad. I got to see McDavid for the first time in Rogers Place against Buffalo. Josh Doan's second goal was incredible. Shooting between the legs. Awesome. You do got to see these guys. If you haven't had an opportunity, it's different seeing them live. But before I move on to the other news of the day, I was mentioning before the break that there is a new documentary dropping on Prime Video. I believe it was, I can't keep them all straight, but I believe it's Prime. I'll find it because I want to watch it, called Raise the Flags. And the broadcaster for the Buccaneers, Gene, if you've ever been at Raymond James Stadium, he has these iconic sayings. One is, raise the flags when the Buccaneers score a touchdown, or fire the cannons. And they're painted on the side of the stadium in Tampa Bay. It's so exciting. So I can't wait to watch this documentary. And what's different now in today's sports world, which I totally get. I was reading about this series this morning. It's been commissioned, paid for by the Glazer family, the family that owns the Buccaneers, just like the Cowboys documentary. So guess what's going to happen? They're going to make the owner look like Santa Claus. And a combo of Santa Claus, God, and Gandhi. He's paying for it. He can. But I'll say it again. What is the sports documentary you would like to see made? We have all these Oiler fans watching. We had it. Boys on the Bus. I've probably watched it 200 times. It never gets old. Mine would be, and I've said this before, but we got so many new viewers here that I'm going to update it for those that didn't see it when I said it years ago, is Decade of Decadence. I would like to see a Netflix series done on the Saskatchewan Roughriders era from 2005 to 2014. The Decade of Decadence, when we were in 4 Grey Cups and 1, 2, and we had all these fabulous stories, and it led to the new stadium being built. And the unfortunate thing is our president at the time, Jim Hobson's no longer with us. He was the architect of all of that. But they'd find enough people to interview for sure. I would like to see the documentary Decade of Decadence. And, of course, a lot of the negative nincompoops are going to say, well, Netflix would never do a series on the CFL. Well, they did a great series on the United Hockey League and the Danbury Trashers. I could see it, and it would be amazing. What is the Netflix or Prime or Paramount Plus or any one of these services series that you'd like to see done? My mind's going all these different places. Flames fans, what say you? Argos fans, whatever. Okay, let's dip back into the... Let's dip back in. Oh, Tony writes in and says, good morning, RP. Hope you're well. As a huge fan of golf history, I'd like a good documentary on one of the greatest rivalries in sports, Arnold Palmer versus Jack Nicklaus. Their rivalry on and off the course and their great friendship they had over 60 years. They are my sports heroes. Signed, Tony in Sask. Thank you. We're getting it. I would watch that. I watch almost anything. I want to know what the viewers feel would be the documentary they'd like to see, the series. Jeremy writes in from Winnipeg on two things. Number one, the Bucks went winless over the 1976 and 77 seasons. Thank you, Jeremy. And says also, Red Wings pulled out the dub. Flames made it interesting after the bogus penalty shot goal. Red Wings dominated for 40 minutes. John Gibson has looked better the last 2 games. We'll see how it goes. Certainly pulling for the Detroit Red Wings and their wonderful head coach, Todd McClellan, the pride of Millville, Saskatchewan. But I think about the Flames a lot because of my time spent in that city, the sponsors we have from that town, Overtime Hockey Lanes. We're not going to talk about the Flames because the media in that city is overdrive all the time about the Flames, and it's bad news all the time right now. You come here to escape it. So I get it. I had written down as point 3, any CFL notes? And then the Hamilton Tiger Cats said, hold my beer, and sent out a news release today. Star quarterback Bo Levi Mitchell is staying in Hamilton. The Tiger Cats have re-signed the 35-year-old quarterback to a 2-year contract. Bo Levi was the East Division nominee for Most Outstanding Player this past season. I would like to make it a mandate. I'm not marrying myself to this, but I would like to make it a mandate that we talk about the CFL every day at some point throughout the offseason. We won't sit there and belabor it or beleaguer it. Hopefully they stay in the news and do their part. But I was thinking about Bo the other day. The story just said he's the defending East Division Most Outstanding Player. 2 years ago, I thought he should have been the league MVP. And the voters didn't agree. He didn't win the league MVP. They're like, how could he be the MVP? They didn't make the playoffs. Such a CFL thing. Because I just heard the other day that Dak Prescott is having an MVP season with the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, that's just one of 8 million voices on the NFL right now. But I'm like, the Cowboys aren't even going to make the playoffs. I know they can win the NFC East. They're not going to. I could see it. I could literally see it. Just the way the voters are and the way the media is, that Dak Prescott could miss the playoffs and win MVP of the NFL. Yet in the CFL, they would poo-poo that. I hope that happens. I hope it happens that Dak wins MVP despite Dallas missing the playoffs, just to show these CFL people that I argued with that I don't feel they know what they're talking about. But anyways, Bo's re-signed. So he's like, hey, okay, so I can't be MVP because we missed the playoffs. I'll show you. Comes back this year, leads the league in passing, finishes first. Okay. Now what? And they vote for Nathan Rourke. What do people have against Bo? Kirk writes in from Tirana. He says, hey, Rod, according to 3downnation.com, the Hamilton Tiger Cats were hot on the trail to hire Jim Barker. But in the end, he chose the Argos, saying that this organization means a great deal to him. Hope round 4 is a great one. Well, I'm happy to report that Jim Barker will be on the air tomorrow. We can carry this over after the break because we only have a minute to go here. But Jim Barker is going to stay with us on this fine program despite his new role in the player personnel department with the Argos. We have a tremendous relationship with Jim Barker. We've got a great relationship with the Toronto Argonauts. And Jim's going to stay on for as long as he can, as long as it doesn't interfere with his role with the Argos. Because you know what? We're great CFL people. He's great CFL people. The Argos are. It's great for everybody. So like last week when he was announced with the Argos, people are like, we're going to miss him on Friday. I'm like, not so fast, my friend. You know what happens when you jump to conclusions? One day you're going to miss, fall, and break your neck. We don't want that to happen. We'll continue here after this brief pause. You're watching the RP Show on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube Live, podcast, Admission Radio.
Are you ready? 8th to 11th, it all goes down in Moose Jaw at the Yara Center. The battle on the prairies. NCAA rules. 25 elite teams. Alberta, Boston, Texas, Mexico, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. All under one roof. Come watch live. tickets available right at the door. Pay-per-view will be available at ikslive.ca.
Sports fans, date a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, everybody. I was just doing a quick check of the dub schedule at WHL.ca. And I see the pesky Moose Jaw Warriors aren't home on Friday night. They're on the road. They're in Medicine Hat. But for fans of the Tribe, that's a good time to head on down to the Mad Greek Eatery. They sponsor our junior hockey report every day on the RP Show. From classic to loaded, pizza night starts at the Mad Greek. Head on down there and find out why it's everybody in Moose Jaw's favorite restaurant, which it is. You can order online, pick up, or dine in. Check out their menu at themadgreekeatery.com. Authentic Greek flavors right in the jaw. I just love you, the viewers. I hope you're okay with me going solo. It's like a special thing. We don't do it all the time. We do it periodically. It gives me more chance to converse with you, the viewers. And as long as I come up with a quality topic, we don't have a problem with that. So it works great. So with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers home tonight to the Atlanta Falcons on Thursday Night Football, kicking off Week 15. It's dropping. It's the same day as this new series drops called Raise the Flags about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers franchise. I can't wait to see it. Like, I'm not a diehard Bucs fan, but I really respect the outfit. They treated me really well in the years that we've been there. But I said, what's the series you would like to see? For me, I've named it already. The Decade of Decadence. Decade of Decadence. Saskatchewan Roughriders 2005 to 2014. I mean, I was there. I saw it. I'd like to see how they would portray it. Snowman in the morning. Brian Snow from WQVZ, who's going to be joining us next hour to talk NFL, writes in, He says, how about the 49ers dynasty of the 80s? That would be good. And actually, Jeremy in Winnipeg writes in and he says, I think it's coming out on the AMC network on the 49ers. It's called Rise of the 49ers. So now all my stories are flooding in. And that's the thing is I could sit here and have co-hosts, but I'm going to be honest. Most of the co-hosts don't have stories like I have. They just don't. Doug McClain does. And before we get off the air, things that he said on our Cats and Bolts Panthers podcast yesterday, but to the 49ers, Ronnie Lott would be all over that. I mean, he's not the greatest 49er ever, but he's up there. He would tell you that. Voted the 11th best player all time in NFL history, Ronnie Lott. And so we were both speaking at the Huskies Dogs Breakfast. Want to say it was 2015, I think. And we were sitting side by side. I've told this story before, but you've never heard it. And I can't remember who was at. I think he was at the table first. When I came in, first thing in the morning. And he stands up. He's like, Ronnie Lott. I knew who he was. I'm like, Rod Pedersen. And he turns and he's like, can I ask you a question? I'm like, I feel like you're going to. What was your moment? Excuse me? What was your moment? Your moment in life that you'd dreamt about your whole life, then you didn't think it was going to happen, so you gave up on it, and then it happened. What was that moment for you? And I'm like, oh my God. Well, off the top of my head, it was being the voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, being named, 25, my hometown team, and that had been a fan of my whole life, and then waiting a very long time to even get to the Grey Cup, let alone win it, and finally realizing it's never going to happen. I'm the voice of the CFL version of the Cleveland Browns. We're never going to win. And then we get into the game. And then we're up 23-19 with a minute to go, and Ryan Dinwiddie starts marching the ball from his own end. I'm like, here we go. With a minute to go for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in Skydome, Toronto. And I'm like, we're going to lose again. This is part of being being a Rider fan. We get our hopes up just to get crushed. And then James Johnson steps inside for a pass intended for Milt Stegall, picks him off. We need to get one first down. We do, and we win it. Go crazy, Saskatchewan. Go crazy. That's what I said on the radio. Ronnie starts jumping up and down. I knew it. He grabbing it around. He goes, all the greats have won. Ronnie Lott. And then like a knob, I didn't ask him what was his, but he was sitting there with a nub of a pinky finger. And I said, what's the story on your pinky, Ronnie? And he said, there was a game. If there's any diehard 49ers fans watching, you might remember. Snowman, you're one. What was the game, if you're still watching, that Ronnie Lott hurt his pinky and he's in the 49ers locker room at Candlestick Park. And the team doctor says, we got to take you to the hospital to fix this thing. I can't do it here. And Ronnie goes, well, what do you mean? I don't want to. What are our options? He's like, well, we can take it off. We could remove your pinky and you can go back in the game, or take you to the hospital right now and fix it. He's like, take it off. They don't make him like that anymore. Ronnie Lott. What is the series you'd like to see? Tony from Cochrane, Alberta, writes in. He says, the history of the AFL, the American Football League, and the AAFC, All-America Football Conference, prior to the NFL. 1946 to 1949, where the Browns won all 4 championships in a perfect season in 1948. Well, there you go. And I don't know where Jeff the Stamps fan is today, but he's probably listening. He's not participating in the chat, but his would be the 1948 dream season where the Stampeders never lost a game all year on the way to winning the Grey Cup. It's the CFL's version of the 72 Dolphins. From the audience, we're talking about Jim Barker staying on the RP show for the time being. I don't think that's going to change, despite joining the personnel department of the Toronto Argonauts. Jeremy in Winnipeg writes in, he says, Jim Barker sounds like Tom Brady. LOL. I'm joking. That's good news. Talking about Tom being a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, but also the main color commentator on Fox. The NFL was smart enough, because they're not dumb, to realize this is what's best for the NFL to allow this to happen, even though it is a breach of league rules. I would hope that the Argos and the CFL got together on this and say, no, let's let him stay on the show. I don't know what happened. All I know is he'll be on. Scott Spilchin, the jaw, and he writes, and he says he wants to see a documentary on the Legion of Boom Seahawks. Okay, I'm sorry. I was hockey puck here. I was thinking of the Philadelphia Flyers Legion of Boom line. I get it. That was the John Ryan era, right, in Seattle? Not that he was part of the Legion of Boom, but can somebody tell me, I'm embarrassed right now that off the top of my head I don't remember it, who was on the Legion of Boom line for the Philadelphia Flyers? I want to say Eric Lindros. Was it Mark Recchi? Mikhail Renberg? Was that who it was? Somebody please tell me. And speaking of NHL players, our poll question today is, who is the face of the NHL? And running away with it is Connor McDavid, to no one's surprise. A lot of write-in votes for Sidney Crosby. Ron in Calgary writes in, he says, face of the NHL, to be honest, Rod, no one is standing out this year. And I used to actually think because of my bias, I should preclude myself, excuse myself from these polls. Then I realized everybody else is biased. So vote for your people. Every time I turn on a Blackhawks game, Bedard's scoring. And, I mean, you kind of have to have been to the United Center to understand how big a deal this is. But I'm looking in the crowd. On television, you could see the wide, every second jersey in that rink. No. It's not even that. 9 out of every 10 jerseys in that rink are Bedard jerseys. It's not 50-50. It's 98%. It's insane. So anybody who follows Bedard or even casually follows the Chicago Blackhawks, I think would say Connor Bedard is the face of the NHL because we're looking for him, right? The Oilers fans would say McDavid, and the Avs, who have surprisingly smaller fan base than I would have thought until I started covering the NHL full-time. Surprisingly small fan base, the Colorado Avalanche. But they would all say Nathan McKinnon. And then fans of the entire NHL are Crosby fans, and I think that probably why he's very high in the poll. So anyways, we'll continue that. What's the sports documentary you'd like to see? We've had the 80s Niners, the Legion of Boom Seahawks, Nicholas and Palmer, Riders Decade of Decadence, LeClaire Renberg. Thank you. And Lindros. Thank you. I was close. We'll be back, everybody. You're watching the RP show here across the Game Plus television network. You can reach us at 902-518-3033. Also, YouTube Live, podcast, and Mission Radio, WQVZ.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Reminding you to sign up for the Rod Squad newsletter if you haven't yet. Thousands of readers can't be wrong. It's brought to you by Suds Full Service Car Wash. Are you stuck for gift ideas? Suds gift cards available online at their location or at Costco. They're the ultimate for anyone who loves a clean ride. Visit sudsregina.com. You can sign up for free by going to rodpeterson.com. Where do I go from here? We got hung up a little bit. That's on me on some of our topics here. I'll say this. Point 4, Canadian basketball star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder are off to the NBA Cup semifinals. SGA put up 28 points and 8 assists as the Thunder throttled the Phoenix Suns 138-89 in the in-season tournament's quarterfinals. So OKC heads to Las Vegas, where it will meet the winner of tonight's game between the Los Angeles Lakers and the San Antonio Spurs. Again, this is just boring daily sports headlines. I'd rather talk about what we're talking about. But hang on. Point 5. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman has expressed concern about the construction delays regarding the hockey rink for the Milan Cortina Olympics. Speaking to reporters in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Bettman said the slow construction of the main rink is, quote, disappointing. The NHL has previously raised concern about the quality of the ice, and the league is sending its own experts to Italy to ensure it is safe for players. That was point 5 of the quick 6. And point 6 is always randoms. And we've been quite random today. But yesterday, I guess now would be a good time to bring up Doug McLean coming on our Cats and Bolts podcast yesterday, Florida's most watched hockey show, with my buddy Brent Waltman and I hosting it. And Doug McLean was on. The iconic Sportsnet commentator, former head coach of the Florida Panthers, an executive with the Columbus Blue Jackets. He said, it's a bit of a joke, was the quote, as to how they've had 4 years of building this rink, and they're not going to, they're under the gun. He doesn't think it'll be a problem. He was quoting Nick Kyprios. He's like, Kipper tells me that they'll be ready to play, and Kipper doesn't usually say it if it's not true. Within 12 hours, the episode had 2,600 views. So, I mean, we do pretty well with our views, but having Doug McLean on just, it's like rocket fuel. And he was saying how, I guess, I didn't know this, but he does a Friday spot with Nick Kyprios every Friday, 30 minutes. Every time he says something on there, he gets people mad. And he's like, I'm not even being paid for this. Why am I doing it? Doug's so good. And he's been so great to me because the South Florida hockey community is very small. So it didn't take long for us to find each other and become friends. But it's because of quotes like, Doug doesn't mean it. Like, I get guys like him. I sometimes say things without thinking. I get it too. Or not without thinking, but thinking about how it might be perceived by others whose feelings might be hurt, i.e., we were talking about the Canadian media, and does it hurt Canadian NHL teams' chances of winning a Stanley Cup? Because I used to think that was bunk, but now I get it. Looking back in, yeah, maybe it is. But, Canadian markets versus Sunbelt markets. Doug Broad loves it here in South Florida, and he goes, where would you rather be? Calgary or Florida? Seriously. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Fortunately, nobody from Calgary seemed to get that upset about that. Maybe they agree. But I'm sitting here going, I like both places a lot. So it's not one or the other, but it is very clear that Matthew Tkachuk loves it here more, and he certainly had a lot more success. I think it's about the climate than about the franchise, but I don't know. I never really dug into it, but McLean is gold. The sports updates brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone and Moose Jaw, your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need. Visit them today or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. There is news out of the CFL. Star quarterback Bo Levi Mitchell is staying in Hamilton. The Tiger Cats have re-signed the 35-year-old quarterback to a 2-year deal. Mitchell was the East Division nominee for Most Outstanding Player this past season. Although we've had a long-running feud going back to 2017, I really enjoy watching him play, and I cheer for his success. I do. In the NFL, Week 15 kicks off tonight with Atlanta at Tampa Bay. We've talked about that game a lot. The Blue Jays are officially adding Cody Ponce to their pitching staff. The team says the two sides have agreed to terms on a 3-year deal worth $30 million. Ponce was named the Korean League MVP this year. 6 Canadian teams are in action on a busy 13-game NHL slate tonight. Ottawa is in Columbus. Toronto welcomes San Jose. And Montreal heads out to Pittsburgh. In the West, Winnipeg entertains Boston. Edmonton plays host to Detroit. And Vancouver gets a visit from Buffalo. That's busy. 13 games. I don't know if we'll have time to get to the picks this hour, but definitely next if we don't. The sports update is for Ultimate Fan Zone. Collectors, listen up. Hockey cards, autographs, and fan memorabilia, all at Ultimate Fan Zone. Don't wait. Shop ultimatefanzone.ca. And as our viewers said when I posted a photo of Billy, the store owner, and I to our Facebook on the weekend, it is Disneyland for adults. What a wonderful endorsement that is. Oh, regarding the Legion of Boom versus the Legion of Doom, Jeff in Toronto has pointed out that the Legion of Boom was with the Seahawks. The Legion of Doom was with the Philadelphia Flyers. You know what age I'm at right now? Yeah. It's like my parents, which frankly, this set in once they hit their 50s. It was 3 boys in our family, and I was the youngest. And Mom would always be, Lee, Reed, Roddy, whatever your name is. After a while, she didn't care. And I accepted that. And now I don't care. It's when I screw up name. I see why Don Cherry, was famous for always screwing guys' names. There's just this line. I believe it's 50. Where clarity doesn't necessarily matter in these things. I'm sorry, but that's where I'm at. From the comment section, Mark in Melfort writes in. He says the CFL schedule has been out for a couple days, and the annual bitching of the schedule makeup is bad. Lots of couch quarterbacks think they can do better, but all they do is complain. Mark, you weren't watching on Tuesday when we were talking about this, and I'm not going to belabor this any more than saying we addressed that then. Scruffy was leading the parade. He was the marshal of the bitching parade. I said, stop. You might even be right. I don't want to hear it. Actually, Mark, you haven't clearly been watching much this week because Wednesday I said it's like kids waiting for Christmas all year and then not liking the gift that they get. We don't listen to them either. A lot of people are unhappy, and they find a target to bitch about. Go ahead. Just don't use this show for it. Steven writes in. He says, hey, Rod, it's Steve from San Diego. Just off the cuff, what is the future of spring football in the UFL? Is there a future? How is the spring football leagues viewed in Canada? By the way, I love the show. I'm going to confidently say, Steve, I don't know. I'm not following it. And to say I don't care would be callous but accurate. for a variety of reasons. Spring leagues don't even exist in Canada, but for the football diehards that are looking for something to watch in the springtime, period. And the only reason I follow was because I had friends in those leagues, i.e. players, and then Jim Pop, head of player personnel, Corey Chamberlain, Marcel Belfay, some of the coaches, McLeod Bethel Thompson when he was playing down there. What's the future? I don't care. It's very evident to me that they can't make a go of it, to the degree that, if you want to sit and ask why, I don't know why. Is it too expensive to operate pro football teams? Probably. But if they can't figure, even the people that backed it don't follow it anymore. Like Reed Johnson folded up his Mark cast, couldn't get cooperation from the league. He's like, I'm out. So, yeah. Jeremy in Winnipeg writes in, he says, I'm not a fan of this in-season tournament. Here's where I'm at on that. I have no idea what it is, but there's something about the NBA that I don't hate. Like this in-season tournament, I have no idea what they're doing, but I'm reading the results. It's kind of cool. And I do really like their play-in at the end of the regular season. I like it a lot. You understand, hockey and the NHL and the NBA couldn't be more different. And they don't clearly get along. It's very clear to me now that I've been living in this market. They don't get along. And it's like they actually habitually take shots at each other, little subtle shots. Like Gary Bettman has been asked many times if the NHL would consider going to a play-in, which I would be in favor of. But Gary's like, the last 2 months of the regular season in the NHL is a play-in tournament. We don't need to do that. But I'd still like it. Steven in San Diego continues. He says, so there isn't a future. Probably not. And I could get on the phone, make some calls, and find out why that is. I think in a lot of ways, it's that thinking, especially amongst Americans, if it's not the NFL, it's junk. But the Arena Football League teams seem to be doing pretty good. I got a lot of friends in those leagues. Why are they able to function? Maybe you don't know who they are or watch them, but they've been going for a long time. We had Mike Davis on from the Vegas Nighthawks. They won the IFL Indoor Football League Championship last year. They're rocking. Steve says, I agree. Well, thank you. There's too much football as it is, and I think it's potentially mismanagement. Somebody should look at the indoor leagues and go, how are they doing it? But I'm not sure anybody's got the marbles to do that. You know what? We can ask the Snowman when he joins us. Snowman in the morning from WQVZ. When he joins us next hour, we're going to be talking a lot of NFL with the Snowman. We didn't even get to Phillip Rivers. Oh, Steven, by the way, says, go Ducks. I had them picked to win last night, and they did at Pittsburgh. The Ducks have arrived. Must be winter. Hour 2 is coming up. We'll be across Nevada on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network. Please stick with us across Canada and 32 other U.S. states right here across the Game Plus television network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Oh, you're going to love this one. You're going to love this one. The RP Show, episode number 1637 coming at you in a variety of ways on the Game Plus television network across Canada and 32 U.S. states, and now across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. The Golden Knights are in action tonight as part of a 13-game slate. We're going to get to that. Hi. It's a thought-provoking episode of your favorite sports talk show. It's your favorite because you're here, and I thank you for that. Our guest coming up a little later on is Brian Snow from Snowman in the Morning. We shared the airwaves of WQEE Atlanta back in the day. Now the Snowman's at WQVZ, and he's going to be joining us to talk NFL and his beloved Chicago Blackhawks, because he's originally from Chicago. Now he's hanging his hat in Indiana. Where's my bell? Okay, that's it. And we don't really have any breaking news. I'm not sure why I'm ringing the bell, but it's a very thought-provoking episode of the RP Show today. I promise you that. Let's get down to business with the quick six show topics. We will open with football today. The Atlanta Falcons will try to play spoiler tonight as they visit the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for Thursday night football. The 4-9 Falcons have already been eliminated from playoff contention, but the Buccaneers are tied atop the NFC South at 7-6. And after a hot start, Tampa has struggled in recent weeks with 4 losses in 5 games. But Mike Evans is back tonight for the Bucs, and it's a very, very special night at Raymond James Stadium as they're celebrating 50 years of Buccaneers football. And as I sit here now, I'm thinking, why did I not line up Randy Grimes? Although it's the sober center, 13 seasons starting center with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, all in the 80s when they were bad. Randy doesn't mind. They call him the sober center because he's in recovery like me. He's now working in the recovery trade. And we'll get him on next week because he'll be a little busy on a special night tonight. I love these alumni events, and I heard Chris Sims talking about this morning on Pro Football Talk, NBC Sports Radio, but he's flying in today. They're going to make a real big deal of the alumni, and they should. And I appreciate the viewers. I've been solo throughout the whole program today, So when I do that, I ask the audience for as much participation as they're willing to give. And I was reading up on this because I'm not like Joe Buccaneers fan. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. But they were 0-26 at one time. And apparently, thanks to Jeremy, who wrote in and said that was the 76-77 seasons when trust me, I wasn't watching the NFL back then. To two-time Super Bowl champions. And I don't know, just something about the Buccaneers organization. Anybody who's been fired there has a different opinion, including John Gruden, who I was told had not stepped foot in that stadium after he was fired for decades. But I think he's back now. But they do things right. And when I was at a game there in 2013, guy was sitting beside, I said, how long you had season tickets? He says, since 2003. It was 11 seasons in a row. And he goes, I'm taking advantage of the grandfather deal for season tickets. I said, yeah, what's that? He goes, you buy season tickets. This is a guarantee the Buccaneers had, I guess, since going back to the 90s. You buy season tickets, the price will never go up. Can you imagine? I won't speak for other NFL teams or pro teams, but I can tell you with the team over my shoulder here, winning changes things. And I'll pause for a second on the football talk, but I was doing my Florida Panthers podcast yesterday, and Doug McClain was on, the iconic Florida Panthers coach, took him to the 1996 Stanley Cup Final, and he talked about the amount of people who were season ticket holders way back in year one, back in 93, to now. And my co-host of that show, Brent from Wellington, Florida, said, I think there was only 36. Only 36 have had season tickets for 30-plus years with the Florida Panthers. And now it's very, very, very expensive. But they're winning. It is what it is. Which, speaking of, let me get moving along before I get to hockey. Some other NFL notes. Oh, hey, stop. One other thing. Dropped today on streaming. I think it's Prime Video. I'm not sure. I'll find it. A new multi-episode series on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers called Raise the Flags, commissioned by the Glazer family, the family that owns the team, very similar to the Cowboys documentary that dropped this summer. Jera paid for that, so it made him look like God. That's the same thing that's going to happen in Tampa Bay. But I can't wait to watch that. Raise the Flags on the history of the Buccaneers. It's going to be fantastic. And I was asking the viewers, what is the streaming series you'd like to see done on your team? Remember back in the day, in our generation, it was 30 for 30. ESPN said it did such a great job, or on NFL Network, A Football Life. What's the one you'd like to see? And we've had a lot of great answers. Snowman in the morning, Brian Snow, said he'd like to see a documentary on his 80s San Francisco 49ers. I can't remember who. I apologize. One of the viewers wrote in and said the Legion of Boom, which I confused for the Philadelphia Flyers crushing line in the 90s. Legion of Doom. John LeClaire, Eric Lindros, and Michael Renberg. The Legion of Boom, thank God for ChatGPT, by the way. Not like I didn't know the Legion of Boom was with Seattle. I just got it mixed up. I'm old. The Legion of Boom was the nickname for the Seattle Seahawks' dominant secondary in the early to mid-2010s, one of the most feared defensive units in NFL history. Key members, Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, Brandon Browner, and Byron Maxwell. What made them special? Extremely physical, press-heavy defense, tight coverage that threw off timing routes. Peak achievement? Carrying the Seahawks to back-to-back Super Bowls, 2013 and 2014. Winning it, of course, in 2013. We won't get into what happened in 2014 when Mr. Unlimited got shut down on the goal line by Malcolm Butler. But anyways, in short, a legendary, hard-hitting, ball-hawking secondary that defined an era of Seahawks football. That was all from ChatGPT. It's so awesome. Mine, by the way, is the CFL guy that I am, would be, I've already got a name for it, the Decade of Decadence. The period from 2005 to 2014 when we appeared in 4 Grey Cups. That's the Canadian Football League Championship. Winning 2, losing 2. Oh, it would be such a great series. More NFL notes. 2-time NFL MVP Lamar Jackson missed practice again for the Ravens as Baltimore gets ready for another massive divisional game this weekend at Cincinnati. The Ravens listed today as a rest day for Jackson, who missed 3 games with a hamstring injury earlier this season and hasn't been all that healthy since returning. The Ravens lost to Pittsburgh 27-22 Sunday. to fall a game back in the AFC North race. That will probably affect your picks. It'll affect mine. I'm not sure if we're going to have time today to do deal or no deal. If we don't today, we'll definitely do it tomorrow because I haven't got to my NHL picks yet. And one more note from the National Football League. Phillip Rivers wanted one more shot at winning that elusive Super Bowl ring. So the 44-year-old grandfather and Hall of Fame semifinalist is coming out of retirement and rejoining the Indianapolis Colts just hours after team officials announced they'd signed Rivers to the practice squad. The 8-time Pro Bowler told reporters he's eager to take his first NFL snaps since 2020 and hopes to start Sunday's crucial game at Seattle. This smacks a little bit of Jeff Saturday coming back and being the head coach of that exact same team. That one didn't work out real well. One does, aren't we? The old guys rule crowd. I mean, come on. I say this as respectfully as I can. I mean, when I saw Phillip Rivers at the podium, he looked every bit as a 44-year-old grandfather. There's a little pudge under here. But what I also noticed was he was smiling like a butcher's dog, ear to ear, to be back playing. Let's just hope it goes well. And after seeing him on TV, I hope he doesn't get hurt. Allie has showed up. Hello, Allie. She says, happy pre-Friday, Rod. And she says, smash that like button, y'all. Yeah, for those that are watching on YouTube, she is from Texarkana, Texas. Hit like. We don't ask for a lot. You showed up just in time because we're about to talk hockey, Allie. Yeah, right on time. You've seen our poll question, which I'm going to get to here in a second. Point 2 is I've just talked for 8 minutes on 1 point, the National Football League. Point 2, 6 Canadian teams hit the ice as part of tonight's 13-game slate in the National Hockey League. The Vegas Golden Knights, because, of course, we are Vegas's favorite hockey show, they are on the road to the Philadelphia Flyers tonight, facing the red-hot Philly Flyers. That might be the game of the night. That might have been a good poll question, too. But as for those Canadian teams, Ottawa visits Columbus, Toronto hosts San Jose, and Montreal plays in Pittsburgh. In the Western Conference, Winnipeg entertains Boston, Edmonton plays host to Detroit, and Vancouver gets a visit from Buffalo. I don't want to go through everything that I went through last hour for the benefit of those that were watching then. That was when we recapped Wednesday night's 5-game slate, where, again, this guy went 5-0 in picks. Not a big deal. Connor Bedard, however, had a goal and a helper. Spencer Knight had 21 saves in the shutout, and the Chicago Blackhawks beat the Rangers 3-0. Did you watch it, Allie? It was on TNT, right? One of the national networks anyways. I believe it was. And let's just say, number one, it brought up this poll question for me because I was sitting around with some buddies when I was in Canada last week. These are the types of conversations we have in Canada. Who's the face of the NHL right now? Nobody could agree on it. But we were like, Connor Bedard. That's the poll question today, by the way. For EMJ Marketing, from impactful speakers to strategic marketing, EMJ Marketing is your all-in-one solution. Visit them at emjmarketing.com. Who is the face of the NHL right now? I'm voting for Connor Bedard, obvi. Leading the poll voting is Connor McDavid by a mile. You got to go with Nathan McKinnon. He might very well be the best player in the National Hockey League or other. And leading the way in the poll is McDavid, but next is Sidney Crosby, with write-in ballots from everybody. And listen, I love Sid. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't think there's a wrong answer to this. Oh, it's 11 minutes after the hour, by the way. Expect good to happen. Give that a try. Anyways, there's no wrong answer to this. There's no right answer either, I don't think. But I do think if you ask the NHL right now, in their marketing department, who do you want the face of the NHL to be? I think they would say Connor Bedard. But I don't know. Haven't had the opportunity to ask that question. The picks are brought to you by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Let me just move along in the quick six show topics and come back to all these other things. I split point 3A for the CFL fans tuned in. Star quarterback Bo Levi Mitchell is staying in Hamilton. The Tiger Cats have re-signed the 35-year-old quarterback to a 2-year contract. He was the East Division most outstanding player this year. 3B is college football. Former Michigan football coach Sharon Moore was still jailed this morning, according to court records, less than 24 hours after he was fired for what the university said was, quote, an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. The Washtenaw County Jail did not provide information about why the 39-year-old Moore was detained, details on his bond, or whether any court appearances were scheduled. And you know what? I'm just going to go, not talking about it. Not here. Not today. No. Have you signed up yet for the Rod Squad newsletter at rodpeterson.com? Thousands of readers can't be wrong. It drops every Sunday afternoon. It's brought to you by Suds Full Service Car Wash. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds Regina's unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Point 4 of the Quick Six show topics. Canadian basketball star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder are off to the NBA Cup semifinals. SGA put up 28 points as the Thunder throttled the Phoenix Suns 138-89 in the in-season tournament's quarterfinals Wednesday night. OKC's heading to Vegas, where it will meet the winner of tonight's game between the Lakers and Spurs. And because, as I've learned, nobody in Las Vegas has disputed this, the Phoenix Suns are Vegas's NBA team. Suns guard Grayson Allen was ejected from the game after he shoved Thunder center Chet Holmgren and knocked him to the floor. That's not very nice. By the way, when you're looking for strategic communications with impact, Outlaw Communications delivers, led by Tony Plater with 35 years of communication and leadership experience. He specializes in media relations training, leadership coaching, and crisis communication strategy. Call 306-570-6913 to get working with Tony or visit his website at tonyplater.com. Point 5 is simply this NHL ice situation. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman has expressed concern about the construction delays regarding the hockey rink for the Milan Cortina Olympics. Speaking to reporters in Winnipeg, Bettman said the slow construction of the main rink is, quote, disappointing. That's Gary. Gary's being as forceful as he can be as the commissioner of the NHL. Doug McLean was on our Cats and Bolts Florida hockey podcast yesterday. He said it's a bit of a joke. Doug McLean coached the Panthers to the 1996 Stanley Cup final and then later on the Columbus Blue Jackets for many years, plus was GM and president. He's got 4 years to build a rink, and we're taking this right down to the wire. But Doug also said he feels that they'll play. In the end, they'll play. I don't know. I guess we're going to find out. I'm sorry, but I distrust the media so much, and I know that I'm part of it, but not really part of it. That's why I'm sitting over here on the Rod Peterson Show, on the independent show, because I don't trust what I read and see. I think this is being stirred up, and that's why we had the poll question yesterday. Do you think the players from the NHL are going to play? 77% of you saying yes. This seems like a much ado about nothing. Anyways, a lot of football talk and a little Blackhawks when we come back with the Snowman. We're live across Nevada on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV. And contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy. Through powerful advertising, strategic drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. We are across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, across Canada on the Game Plus TV network, and be part of the team. Grab your RP show merch now at rodpeterson.com. Click on RP Store. That's all you got to do. Snowman in the morning, WQVZ Mission Radio joining us. What's up, Snowman? Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Oh man, one of my best friends, Rod Pedersen. It's always a pleasure to have you. Always a pleasure to be on with you.
Merry Christmas, Snowman. Same to you, of course, and thanks for joining us. You're making your Nevada television debut, I think, today. Am I right in that?
Yeah, I am. Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Well, let's listen. You're a Blackhawks guy. Before we get to the NFL, yeah. I think it would be pretty simple if I asked you who's the face, our poll question for EMJ Marketing, who's the face of the NHL right now? What would you say? Bedard, McDavid, McKinnon, or other?
It's number 98, Connor Bedard.
Woo!
That's the person that they are going to push. I mean, I love Connor McDavid and what he's done with everything that he has done so far, including 2 Stanley Cup final, but it's the same situation that they had with Jonathan Toews. No one knew who Jonathan Toews was. Although in this situation, a lot of folks, yourself included, are very familiar with who Connor Bedard is and what he did before he got drafted by the Blackhawks. So the face of the league should be Connor Bedard.
I love it. Can I write that down as today's meme? The face of the league should be okay. Yeah, well, to be honest with you, the Blackhawks, they've been through their tough times since they won those 3 cups. But what I really respect about them is they really respect Connor Bedard's history with the Regina Pats. As the guy that spent so many years in junior hockey, I love to see an NHL team honor where their players came from. And they've done a really good job of that with the Regina Pats and Connor Bedard. But the real reason you're here, and for our Nevada viewers, our Game Plus TV viewers know this, the Snowman is an elite broadcaster and NFL commentator. There's no doubt. And you're joining us from Indy today, right? That's where you're hanging your hat these days?
Yep, I am south of Indianapolis. That's where I had my cancer surgery to beat cancer. That's why I'm here. That's why we moved back up here from North Carolina, because the folks at Indiana Cancer Center gave us a chance. I met the fellow who saved my life. So that's why we're here.
Love it. Love to hear. Well, are the Colts going to beat the Seahawks' ass like you beat cancer with Phillip Rivers or otherwise? Like, is he saving the season?
I would love to think that they would be smart enough to put the ball in Riley Leonard's hands because he's more mobile, but Phillip Rivers is familiar with the Colts offense. And if they learn to throw the football effectively, they will beat Seattle. I got confidence that they can beat Seattle. But there's a fellow by the name of Jonathan Taylor who also needs to get a lot of touches. It's going to be close. And Seattle's going to throw everything at them, knowing their quarterback situation, knowing they've lost Daniel Jones for the season. But I think the Colts will give them a challenge, and I think the Colts can sneak out a victory in Seattle.
I'm guessing there's a lot of Colts fans across Nevada, like living in, I'm not sure. There's a lot of people from everywhere living in Las Vegas, but it feels to me like ever since Peyton Manning left town, it hasn't been easy for the Colts. Have I read that right?
You've read that absolutely correct. They had the next one in line, and Andrew Luck, when they drafted him out of Stanford, they couldn't protect him. More to the point, they didn't protect him. What's the first thing you have to do when you have a quarterback with the talent of a Peyton Manning or a Joe Montana or an Andrew Luck or Steve Young? You put a line in front of him. That's what the Bears are learning the hard way with Caleb Williams. There isn't a line in front of him. You don't put a line in front of him, you're going to have the Andrew Luck situation happen.
I'm reading the viewers' comments as they come in. John in Edmonton writes in, he says, "Congrats on beating cancer, Snowman." I feel like Randy Moss
Thank
here
you.
ringing the bell. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're on the winning team. You're looking very healthy, by the way. Are you feeling healthy?
I'm feeling good. Getting rid of a lot of bad eating habits. Jody and I have been working on that for a while. Drinking a lot more water now. If I have something sweet, it's probably going to be juice or sweet tea or something like that. But just cleaning up a lot of bad habits.
Oh, Snowman, you're sweet enough. Well, to other NFL news from outside the wonderful state of Indiana. I don't know that we'll cross on to college football talk here, but maybe we will. I know you can talk about a variety of things. What was your Super Bowl matchup going into the year? Do you remember? And if so, is it still intact?
Well, people think I'm crazy when I made this pick, but my initial Super Bowl pick was 49ers at the top of the year. In a way, it is still intact because the most resilient team in the NFL right now is the San Francisco 49ers. As much as they have been beat up, they have been injured. They lost Bosa. Fred Warner's gone. They just put a couple of offensive linemen on IR. Michael Williams, their outstanding defensive end, is on IR. Do you realize they're only a half game out of the lead in the NFC West? And they're only a half game out, crazy as this sounds, of grabbing the number 1 seed.
So why do you think the pundits were so quick to discredit the 49ers so quickly after they were in the Super Bowl just a couple of years ago?
Oh, that's easy. Injuries. Injuries knocked the 49ers down, and the lamestream media don't expect them to get back up. And they're back up, and they're 9-4 going into what is going to be probably an easy win because they face the Tennessee Titans. Really watch the games and look at the games, and I know you're one of them. And the folks in the chat that watch the games, they know this is probably going to be an easy week for San Francisco. And it could come down to what happened in 2019 when the Seahawks and the 49ers got together to decide the West. It could come down to that again. Of course, you got the Los Angeles Rams in the way. Puka Nacua is one of my favorite receivers. Matthew Stafford continues to defy Father Time with what he's doing. It could come down to Seattle, San Francisco to decide the West, and it could come down to the Rams and 49ers to decide the NFC. We don't know. But the 49ers, to me, are in the way of a lot of teams that other folks have picked to go to the Super Bowl. And they won't put the 49ers in the conversation because they don't want to put the 49ers in the conversation, number one. And number two, the Niners are proving You knock us down, we're getting back up. And they're back up.
I wonder how many people had the NFC West as being the toughest division in the NFL this year. Not too many, I don't think, but they very clearly are. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in. He says, Snowman, you're looking great. I don't know if you remember a coach we had in Saskatchewan by the name of Ken Miller. He had a cancer battle. And I said, Kenny, how's your life changed since you got cancer? And he goes, I got a lot better looking. Everybody I saw said, you look great, Kenny. You look great, Kenny. And he beat it too, Snowman. The biggest thing is your attitude. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta writes in and he says, hey, Rod, minus 27 in Cochrane this morning. I bet you're glad you're back in Florida. Love that jersey behind you. Trust me, I'm glad that I'm back in Florida. I love the Panthers jersey as well. To me, this is the third nicest jersey in the NHL behind the Blackhawks, Reds, and these Panthers baby blues. What's your cat's name, Snowman?
This is Winnie. This is the leader of the bunch.
Does Winnie want to get on the air?
Winnie's been on. You know how many times Winnie has hopped in my lap on the air when I do my morning show? I mean, I got Winnie, then I got Pumpkin, and then I got Binks, and of course I have my dog Lucy. So Winnie just wanted some attention. She always hops in the chair with me.
What does producer Corey say? The realest show on television, the RP show. Welcome aboard, Snowman. You fit right in. AB Media.
Go ahead. I know him. I know AB Media. Very, very dear friend of mine up in Indy. You know, he and I have been friends for a while. But I remember when I discovered your show, and I immediately reached out to you and say, hey, why don't you come on my show for an interview? And we've been friends since.
Yeah. And I put you on immediately too. Didn't you say you discovered our show in the lunchroom?
I did.
At your work or
I was at work. I was at work in the lunchroom. I had a 15-minute break. I put the headphones in and I discovered your show. And I said, oh, this guy's cool. I got to reach out to him.
Clearly not a great judge of character, Snowman. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Yeah, so AB Media has checked in from Indianapolis, but let me walk this back for a sec. Tony from Cochrane is a Browns fan, which we don't have time to unpack the mental complexities that go with that. But I read a Week 15 preview for the NFL this morning that said Shedeur Sanders has made the Browns watchable. You agree with that?
No, I don't. I'm not buying the hype of Shedeur Sanders, period. They tried to sell me that when he was at Jackson State. They tried to sell me that when he was at Colorado. And here's the problem why I'm not buying Shedeur Sanders. He hasn't been coached until now. And now he's got to learn to play the game and learn to get the fundamentals down. And until he gets the fundamentals down, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's going to take a while. I just feel like, hey, we've been watching this game a long time. There's no doubt he has the physical tools, and we're pretty sure he has the confidence. I feel like he's got everything he needs.
He needs the right coach, and he needs an offensive line in front. There's no denying he's got the physical skills. No denying that whatsoever. But he doesn't have the fundamental skills, like throwing a pass on 3rd and 6, only 5 yards, and you lead your receiver to not get the first down. The footwork is what gets it for me. He's got to work on his footwork, and I'm talking laterally. Because if you notice, whenever he drops back to pass and there's a blitz in front of him, he runs backwards. If you run laterally and climb the pocket a little bit, you'll get a pass away, even if it's an incompletion. Got to get the fundamentals down.
How do you feel about his attitude?
He's got to change it now that he has a coach. You're talking
about Kevin Stefanski?
I'm talking exactly about Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah.
And even that may change at the end of this, and even that may change at the end of the season because of the stupid decision Stefanski made to take Shedeur out on a 2-point conversion, and you alert Tennessee, we got a trick play coming because they don't see Shedeur Sanders. If you do anything, if you do nothing else, you put Shedeur Sanders in and let him run the trick play on a 2-point conversion. You ruined his day, 364 yards and 4 touchdowns, and yet he is out on the most important play of the game.
Carlos in Indiana writes in and says, this show demonstrates time and again why it's one of the best out there. I don't even know why he says that. Thank you. I don't know why anybody would tune in daily, but here we are, 1,637 episodes in and growing and growing. I don't
and getting bigger.
Yeah. It's thanks to people like the Snowman. I was going to ask you about the Cowboys, but I don't want to ruin my day. Maybe we'll come back. Maybe we'll come back on the NFL. But you're sitting there in Indiana. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You're sitting there in Indiana. I got to ask you about Notre Dame because who the heck must have been on this show? I was saying all of America felt bad for FSU 3 years, whenever the last year of the 4-team playoff was. Mm-hmm. Everybody in America felt bad for the Seminoles. And now I feel everybody in America hates Notre Dame because of their whining of being snubbed on the weekend. But you're sitting there in Indiana. What's it like?
Mm-hmm. Well, if Notre Dame's Miami and against Texas A&M, then there wouldn't be a problem.
Thank you.
You lost your season when they could have recovered after the loss to Miami, okay? You play Miami, you play them tough in Miami. You lost your season when you allowed Texas A&M to roar back from 13 down and walk off on you in 9 minutes. Oops.
Well, I think we've realized in sports now, and unfortunately life, nobody wants to look in the mirror. Notre Dame doesn't want to look in the mirror.
Nope.
Right? They just want to point fingers at everybody else as to why they're going to be watching. And what about the decision to not play a bowl game? That is as big a news, I think, as their snub, to be honest.
You know, I've lived around Notre Dame fans all my life. And every time they get snubbed for a big bowl game, it's always a problem and a conspiracy to them. Dear Notre Dame and Notre Dame fans, you screwed up when you allowed Texas A&M to beat you. Go play the bowl game, go get a payout, and get ready for next year. Y'all messed that up. No one in the committee messed it up. No one in the NCAA messed it up. You messed it up, Notre Dame, when you lost to Texas, when you lost a 13-point lead to Texas A&M, and on top of that, you allowed them to walk off. Oh, here's the kicker. You lost at home.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you mentioned it yourself, losing to the Hurricanes. These are two teams that are in, and you lost to them. So it ain't that hard to figure out. One thing I've also learned is American college football pundits don't like to put their balls on the table, as I like to say, as the phrase on this show, on a prediction. So I'm not going to say, I don't know how far, but do you have an inkling who might be playing in Hard Rock Stadium in January in the Natty?
I'll tell you, one of those teams to look for is Indiana.
Yeah.
Indiana has come out of nowhere. In fact, I'll go ahead and say it. Don't be surprised if there is a rematch on the way to the national championship. Don't be surprised if Indiana and Ohio State tangle again. And one of those two gets the spot in the national championship game. But one of the teams I'm picking to go all the way to Hard Rock Stadium is Indiana. I love what they're
rematch.
Rematch
of Hoosiers. Are you talking about Hoosiers Buckeyes? Yeah.
Indiana, Ohio State. I think Indiana, Ohio State will tangle again. It'll either be for the national championship or on their way to the national championship, and more than likely it's going to be on their way to the national title game. But do not be surprised if Julian Super Saiyan and Fernando Mendoza lock horns again. Do not be surprised.
Oh my God, 2 minutes. What are you talking about? It goes too long, too fast with Snowman. Jeremy says, what about Bama losing 3 times? Well, I would say, who did they lose to and by how much? Because as we know, this all factors into
Alabama played their way in. They beat Georgia in Athens. and then Georgia beat them in Atlanta. Okay? Who did Alabama lose to? They lost to a team that they're going to play next Friday night. They lost to Oklahoma also. So Bama plays in the toughest conference in the nation. Let's go ahead and say it. They play in the SEC where you don't get a week off. All right, doesn't matter who you're playing. They lost 3 times. All of them were close. Okay? And then you play in a conference championship. So Alabama deserved to get in anyway.
Jeff, the Stamps fan, quickly, we have less than a minute, says, we get 30 seconds. Who's the best team in the NFL? He thinks it's the Rams.
No. Nope. I ain't buying it. I'd like to think it's the Rams, but the best team right now in the NFL, I'm going to surprise everybody, and they're both in the AFC, Broncos and Patriots. I would like to see I like that. Look, the Rams are one of the best in the NFC, period. We've talked about them already. The Rams are one of the best in the NFC. But right now, it's the Broncos and the Patriots.
Well, look at the standings, and it would concur with you. Snowman, you're the best. Let's do it again. Merry Christmas. Say hey to Jody for me.
I will. Thank you, Rod. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
We'll be coming right back. The Snowman, WQVZ Radio. We'll be coming right back with a sports update and viewer takeover on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. I told you Brian Snow, the Snowman, is an elite broadcaster. Clearly better than me. Easy for me to say. Thanks to the Snowman in the Morning from WQVZ for coming on the air today. I'm just dipping into the comments here. It got thanks to Tony and Cochran. You started this, Tony, about what's the best jerseys in the NHL, past and present. He likes my Florida Panthers third over my shoulder here. My favorite is the Blackhawks red. Second is the LA Kings gold. Probably tied with the Kings purple. And number 3 is this Panthers jersey. I should get a copy of the others. Darcy's watching in Grand Prairie, Alberta. He writes in, he says, don't forget the Canucks gold V jersey. Oh, I had one of those back in the day. Like, in the 80s. I have no idea where that thing is. Darren writes in regarding what is the sports documentary you'd like to see made, because the Raise the Flags series drops today on Amazon Prime about the Buccaneers. Darren writes in from Melford. He says, Netflix special, The Life and Rowdiness of Mr. Rod Pedersen. Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to see that. I'm pretty sure I don't want it made. You know when we used to have roasts? Do you notice there's not any roasts anymore? I blame COVID for that. COVID took away a lot of people's senses of humor. It killed April Fools, although that might have been social media too, but they used to say, Scruffy used to say it, the Rod Pedersen roast. Started Friday, it's now Monday. No thanks. Sports update on this Thursday. Sharon Moore is being held in jail while police investigate the situation that led to his arrest hours after the once promising coach was fired at Michigan for what the school said was an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Authorities have yet to release details on Moore's arrest, other than to say he has been held since Wednesday night in the Washtenaw County Jail and remains under investigation. Fernando Mendoza was named Associated Press Player of the Year today after leading unbeaten and top-ranked Indiana to its first Big Ten championship since 1967 and the number 1 seed in the college football playoff. Snowman just discussed it. He thinks that he'll be leading them the Fighting Irish, so not the Fighting Irish, the Hoosiers, to the national championship here in Miami Gardens. Brandon Nemo went first. Then it was Edwin Diaz and Pete Alonso on back-to-back days at baseball's winter meetings. 3 fan favorites headed out the door in 2.5 weeks. A powerful gut punch to angry Mets fans wondering what on earth the front office is thinking. As the club embarks on a major makeover, suffice it to say, owner Steve Cohen and president of baseball operations David Stearns are not the most popular couple in Queens right now. Stearns says there is work to do, but there are many good players available, and he's confident the Mets will like their team, the fans will like their team when the opening day arrives. Sports Update is brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store Moose Jaw. Get your game day gear in store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. The Game Plus viewers may remember this. The Nevada viewers don't even know about it, but I went to a Mets preseason game, I want to say against the Astros last spring. Went down to the right next to the Mets dugout. Part of the reason was it was a Mets split squad team was playing, and John Gibbons was managing the Mets. And this particular splits, the former Blue Jays manager, wanted to get a photo of him. Security guard comes down, grabs me. He's like, "Oh, where are you going?" I'm just trying to get a picture. He's like, "The Mets owner is here, Steve Cohen, and all his security people." I'm like, "So what are you saying? You can't be here." Oh, but the guy was nice. He's like, "They'll be gone by the 7th inning. Come back and take your photo then." Problem was, we left after the 5th. Oh, Chad's watching in Lethbridge, Alberta. He says the Minnesota Wild old North Stars jerseys are the best jerseys in the NHL. Why don't you just go with the old North Stars jerseys? Can't we say that? The one with the N on it, because the logo was elite. The North Star. I don't really care for that. wild logo with the bear on it and the fir trees. What is that? What's a wild? Let's just go with the old Minnesota North Stars jerseys, and I have time for that. Lauren Gump, Worsley, Bill Goldsworthy, Mike Modano. Or as they say in America, Madonna. We'll be back right after this on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody, for the final segment. We lovingly call it Overtime, brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, 28th Street, Northeast Calgary. Stop in and get your skates sharpened for free with one drop-in session. That's the deal. One drop-in session, an hour of lane time, get you a free skate sharpen. They've also got their 12 days of Christmas promotion going on, helping local charities. Great community place, but also an amusement park for hockey players. That's what I like to say. Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Talking about what was the best jersey. I feel like we could talk about that every day. It came up from Tony and Cochran, who mentioned this Panthers jersey over my shoulder, how much he likes it. John Ohm in Winnipeg says the Hartford Whalers jersey is the best. I think it's been voted as such. John in Edmonton writes in, he says, Rod, a very small crowd at Rogers Place in Edmonton watched Team Canada women's team lose against Team USA 10-4 last night. Thanks for the update, John. I'm sure it was a huge broadcast, huge ratings broadcast. That's what they tell me. Everybody loves it. Everybody wants to see it. Allie in Texas writes in. She says, love the Whalers. I got a lot of neighbors here. I got to get into my picks. Shut up. Get bogged down in story time. A lot of my neighbors here are from Hotfoot. And they love Paul Maurice. Last coach of the Whalers. They all say. They love him there. They love him here. Okay. Another former Maurice team, the Carolina Hurricanes, were at Washington tonight. 2 hot teams. I think I'm going to take the Caps. San Jose Sharks at Toronto. The Leafs are on a roll. How do I know? The bitching's gone quiet. We'll take the Leafs to win. Vegas Golden Knights at Philadelphia. Kata Hot will not start for the Golds. Thank you, Jug, for sending me that info. That helps. I got Philly to win. Sorry, Vegas. Anaheim at the Islanders. I'm thinking Anaheim. Ottawa at Columbus. This will surprise you. I'm taking Columbus. The Montreal Canadiens at the Pittsburgh Penguins. Penguins just lost to the Ducks, right? And Malkin's hurt. Let's go with Les Habitants. Ole, 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 ole. Tampa Bay at New Jersey. Devils for me, dog. No, Bolts. Dallas at Minnesota, a battle of the stars. Let's go with Minnie. That could be considered the game of the night. St. Louis at Nashville. And speaking of great jerseys, Jeff the Stamps fan writes in and he says, St. Louis Blues circa 1960s, 70s. Yeah, those were cool with the broad stripes. Yeah, those were good. Anyways, Blues at Nashville. Toilet bowl sponsored by Liquid Plumber. I'll take the Preds, coming off the big win over Colorado. Boston Bruins at Winnipeg. I got to take the Bruins. Sorry, Jets. They got to work themselves out of this. And until they do, I won't be picking them. Allie's saying, boo, because I didn't pick her Stars to win. Well, maybe they'll prove me wrong. Detroit at Edmonton. Oilers will win. Yeah, that one's easy. The Florida Panthers at Colorado. Take the Avs. We'll see. I'm interested to see. Have the Panthers named a starting goaltender yet for tonight? Bob got the win last night at Utah. Panthers going for a 4th consecutive win, with the Avs coming off the upset loss at Nashville. That's like the biggest determining factor for me when making picks. And I was 5-0 last night. That's like the 4th time I've mentioned that today. Daniil Tarasov, I'm guessing, will get the start in the Panthers goal. They call him Baby Bob. The next one. Doesn't matter. Take the Abs. Ooh, and the Buffalo Sabres at Vancouver. Everybody beats Vancouver. So I'll take the Sabres. That's our picks. What are yours? We call it sport betting. It's brought to you by our friends at Pump Jacks Cathedral and Pump Jacks Weyburn. Come early and stay late at the place where friends meet, Pump Jacks. I should also mention that we are brought to you by coolbet.com. Claim your welcome bet bonus up to $200 with the promo code RP200 at coolbet.com. Canadian viewers only. Whatever your viewing pleasures are tonight, please be responsible and enjoy them. For me tonight, it is Thursday Night Football. Going to be a very special night in Tampa Bay. I'll say it again. They're wearing the creamsicle outfits. Randy Grimes, I should have got him on this week. The sober center. He works in the recovery field like now with me. He works in the recovery field now like me. 13 years starting center for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Makes his home in Houston now. He's originally from Tyler, Texas. We have a mutual friend in Earl Campbell that Tyler Rose. We'll get Randy on next week. He could tell us all what went on tonight at Raymond James Stadium. Talking about the roasts, Kirk writes in from Toronto and says, nothing tops the Dean Martin roasts from the 70s. Oh, my God, you got that right. Although, if you watch the Martha Stewart documentary on Netflix, and I do really advocate that you do, it's amazing. When she roasted Justin Bieber, I guess there are still roasts, just not in my circles. Because I'll tell you what, the ones I was at, they got a little too wild. They got a little too, you say, it was stabbing people in the heart on the microphone. It was bad. John Ohm says Panthers Avs is the game of the night. A rematch of the 1996 Stanley Cup final. Unfortunately, I think it's going to go the same way. The Avs will win. Well, thank you, everybody, for keeping me company today, being a big part of this program. As my co-host today, thank you to the Snowman, Brian Snow from WQVZ Radio. And we'll do it tomorrow with Jim Barker and Joe 747 Gunn is here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
That